And the Oscar goes to Clint Eastwood for Unforgiven.
I've been around for 39 years, and I've really enjoyed it. I've been very lucky. I heard Al say he was lucky, but everybody feels that way when you're able to make a living in a profession that you really enjoy.
What is it like being Clint Eastwood's son?
He'll just say things casually, like, yeah. And everyone shuts the fuck up, like at dinner. And then he'll say, 60s, I was with Frank Sinatra at that place. Wait, what? Did you say you were with Frank Sinatra?
Hollywood has always been a place where stories get stretched, twisted, and exaggerated. But every now and then, a moment happens that doesn't need any embellishing at all. One of those moments came from a quiet corner of Beverly Hills, where Clint Eastwood built a reputation not with shouting or attitude, but with the kind of presence that could freeze a room without him saying a single word. Back then, Clint wasn't chasing attention. He didn't have to. Even in a crowd full of producers, rising stars, and award season egos, he stood out by doing the opposite of everyone else. No loud entrances, no bragging, just that steady posture that made people move out of his way whether he asked them to or not. But across the room one night, a young actor tried to steal the spotlight. He was performing for anyone who would listen, laughing too loud, talking too big, and acting like every story he told needed to end with his audience cheering. And right in the middle of his little routine, he slipped in a cheap imitation of Clint, thinking it would get him even more laughs. It worked for the crowd. It didn't work for Clint. Clint didn't make a face, didn't offer a comeback, didn't even look in the actor's direction. He simply took a slow sip of his drink, paid his tab, and walked out with the same calm he walked in with. No scene, no reaction. Just a silence so sharp that the people who noticed never forgot it. And after that, something strange happened. That young actor, someone the studios had been pushing hard, suddenly stopped landing roles at places that once called him non-stop. People whispered, guessing, assuming, connecting dots Clint never confirmed. And because Clint never explained himself, the whole moment became a quiet Hollywood legend. Now, at 94, a few cracks in that long silence have started to show. In rare moments, Clint has hinted that there were 5 people he never forgave, 5 names that crossed lines they didn't realize were lines at all. These weren't just creative disagreements or personality clashes, they were violations of the personal code Clint carried his entire career. And the first person tied to that list? Someone who thought poking fun at Clint's beliefs would win him applause. Someone who treated a serious moment like it was a comedy bit. Michael Moore. It all shifted at the 2005 National Board of Review event, where Moore tossed out a joke at Clint's expense. But when Clint stepped up to the microphone, the tone changed instantly. He said, "Michael Moore and I actually have a lot in common. We both appreciate documentaries, but if he ever shows up at my front door with a camera, I'll kill him." The room didn't laugh this time. No wink, no smile, no hint that Clint was playing around. It wasn't a punchline, it was a line being drawn. Moore moved on. Clint didn't forget. Clint didn't look at Michael Moore's work the way others did. While some people saw a bold political statement, Clint thought it turned real sacrifice into something flashy and loud. By that time, he wasn't just acting. He had just wrapped $1 Million Baby and was preparing to bring Flags of Our Fathers to the screen. Those projects meant something to him. They treated military service and loss with a level of respect he believed was necessary, not as fuel for attention or controversy. To Clint, Moore's approach felt less like storytelling and more like stirring the pot for reaction. After their tense moment at that award ceremony, their paths never crossed again. No handshakes, no professional overlap, just a distance that stayed in place. And if anyone were to ask Clint about it now, he'd probably give that quiet eyebrow lift of his and move right along. He wasn't into loud feuds. He believed in cutting someone off without making a show of it. But Michael Moore wasn't the only filmmaker to spark that side of him. The next clash hit even harder and played out in front of the whole industry. This time, the issue wasn't political, it was historical, and the person calling Clint out was Spike Lee. In 2008, Clint's 2 linked war films, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, hit theaters. Critics loved the ambition. 2 films about the same war from 2 completely different perspectives, one American, one Japanese. They were gritty, emotional, and unapologetically human. But Spike Lee felt something important was missing. He publicly challenged Clint, pointing out that the films didn't include the Black Marines who fought at Iwo Jima. Spike didn't hold back, saying the story felt incomplete without them. You can't just pretend they weren't there. Clint wasn't known for clapbacks, but this time he didn't stay quiet. His response came out sharp, almost like a line from one of his old roles. A guy like him should shut his face. It was blunt, and the industry reacted instantly. Headlines exploded as Spike shot back just as fast, saying he had no intention of being quiet and calling Clint's tone out directly. For nearly a week, the argument dominated entertainment news. Two major filmmakers, two very different visions of history, challenging each other in full view of the world. It wasn't just about a film anymore. It became a bigger question woven through Hollywood. Who gets to shape the story of America? Who decides what gets shown and what gets left out? People tried to smooth things over, offering explanations and trying to translate what Clint might have meant, but he never joined in those discussions. His silence ended up being his answer. As far as Clint was concerned, Flags of Our Fathers focused on a specific group of men, a single perspective told intentionally. He wasn't trying to please critics or check boxes. He believed the story stood on its own, exactly the way he made it. Clint wasn't chasing approval. He was chasing the version of truth he believed in. And nobody, not even someone as respected as Spike Lee, was going to reshape the way he told a story. Spike, on the other hand, viewed the situation through a wider lens. To him, filmmaking wasn't just about the person behind the camera. It was about the voices that never made it into the shot. It wasn't a simple disagreement over editing choices or angles. It was a battle over meaning, legacy, and who gets remembered. With two men as stubborn, principled, and sure of themselves as Eastwood and Lee, there was no middle ground to find. They went their separate ways and never circled back. No friendly conversations, no festival panels, no moments of public respect for each other's work. Just distance, steady, unmoving distance between two giants who refused to bend. And anyone who thought Clint's patience only snapped with directors clearly didn't know what came next. The next clash happened in Clint's own workspace on one of his film sets with one of the biggest actors on the planet. This time, the tension wasn't political or historical. It was artistic. Leonardo DiCaprio and Clint Eastwood could not have been more different in how they approached a role. Leo was the type who dove deep, studying every emotion, every detail, repeating scenes until he found the exact truth he wanted. Clint came from an older, simpler school. Trust instinct, keep it quiet, get the shot, move forward. When Clint cast DiCaprio as J. Edgar Hoover in 2011, the industry buzzed. It felt like two eras of Hollywood meeting head-on. But as soon as filming started, people behind the scenes could see it. Their styles collided instantly. Clint's way was direct, one take if possible, barely any rehearsal, no drawn-out explorations. Efficiency above everything. Leo's method was the total opposite. He built characters by peeling back layers, asking questions, reading between lines, and pushing for take after take until he hit the emotional core. Clint called his own process instinctive. Leo felt it sometimes left things unfinished. What developed between them wasn't a screaming match or an open fight. It was a quiet, tense standoff, two artists wanting different things from the same moment. While Leo chased depth, Clint pushed the production forward. While Leo searched for the heartbeat of a scene, Clint was already closing the camera and calling for the next setup. Crew members noticed immediately. The conversations started in quick whispers, comments traded between takes. One person described it in a way that traveled all around the set. Watching them work together was like watching a racehorse try to sprint in cowboy boots. There were no explosions on set, no raised voices, no dramatic exits. Just that constant low-grade tension between two people who viewed the craft in totally different ways. DiCaprio tried adjusting, tried meeting Clint's stripped-down style halfway, but Clint never shifted his approach. They completed the film, it hit theaters, and that was it. No follow-up collaboration, no warm stories exchanged in interviews, no award season nods toward each other. Clint was known for reuniting with actors he respected, Morgan Freeman, Bradley Cooper, Tom Hanks, But after working with DiCaprio, he never reached out again. Some people brushed the situation off as creative differences. Others whispered that Clint thought Leo pushed too hard, worked too intensely, or layered too much emotion into moments Clint preferred to keep simple. Whatever the reason, their paths split cleanly, and Clint moved on without looking back. But if DiCaprio quietly pressed Clint's patience, the next person pushed it in a way Clint couldn't ignore. This time the blow wasn't subtle, and it wasn't behind the scenes. It happened in front of the entire world. Seth Rogen. Where some actors make silent enemies, Rogen created one in the loudest way possible. In 2014, Clint released American Sniper, a film centered on Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. The movie split critics right down the middle but pulled in enormous audiences, becoming a cultural lightning rod. For Clint, the project was a tribute, serious, emotional, and deeply meaningful. For Rogen, it became a punchline. Only days after the film premiered, he posted a joke comparing American Sniper to the propaganda film shown in the third act of Inglourious Basterds, the fictional movie where a Nazi sniper is celebrated for killing Allied soldiers. He never said Clint's name, but he didn't have to. Everyone understood the comparison instantly. The message spread fast, and the reaction from Hollywood was immediate. Rogen later tried to explain that he didn't mean it as an attack, but the damage was already done. The joke hit like a shot aimed directly at Clint's legacy. And Clint? He didn't jump online, didn't release a statement, didn't battle it out on talk shows. That wasn't his way. He responded with the thing he used more effectively than any comeback: silence. Cold, pointed silence. People close to him said he was furious, not only because of the comparison itself, but because it was thrown out casually, publicly, and framed as humor. To Clint, it didn't come off clever. It came off as disrespect delivered from a safe distance. Even when Rogen later clarified that he wasn't calling American Sniper propaganda, it didn't change Clint's view. The explanation never connected, and the line between them stayed sharp and unmoved. That moment sealed Seth Rogen's place outside Clint Eastwood's world completely. There were no quiet phone calls, no private conversations, no attempts at clearing the air. Clint simply erased the connection. He didn't mention Rogen in interviews, didn't consider him for future roles, and people inside the studios said they understood the message. If Seth's name popped up on a casting list, it wasn't staying there. Clint was known for letting certain things slide, but disrespect, especially when delivered with a grin, was never one of them. And the final name tied to Clint's long-running silence wasn't a comedian or someone trying to stir controversy. It was a peer, a man on his level, a co-star. Their tension didn't unfold in headlines or online debates. It stretched quietly across years, unnoticed by the public, but remembered by everyone who worked near them. Gene Hackman, the rivalry Clint never talked about, and the one no camera could fix. When Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman teamed up for Unforgiven in 1992, the world saw two legends delivering powerful performances. The film reshaped the Western genre and swept major awards. But behind those performances, there was a steady pressure building between them, one that tested Clint's patience more than any on-screen showdown. Clint's sets were known for being calm, efficient, and built on respect. He ran productions with minimal noise, minimal chaos, and no wasted time. Hackman brought a different energy entirely. He was bold, unpredictable, and driven by his own sense of challenge. Clint valued order. Gene leaned into confrontation. During the early days of filming, people on set sensed it. Hackman questioned direction, pushed back on line readings, pressed Clint about camera choices, and challenged small details other actors never thought to touch. It wasn't open rebellion. It was Hackman's pride coming through. One crew member shared a moment that stuck with them. In the middle of a key scene, Hackman stopped, turned to Clint and said, "That line doesn't work." "I'm not saying it." Clint didn't shout. He didn't argue back. He just looked at Hackman for a long, controlled moment before answering quietly, "You will." And that settled it. No theatrics, no confrontation. Just a final statement that left the entire room still. From then on, the tension didn't go away. It hung over the production like heat shimmering off a long stretch of road. They finished the film with professionalism, but not warmth. When Unforgiven dominated the Oscars, both men walked away as winners. But that success didn't bring them closer. Clint never brought Hackman back for another project, never referred to him as a favorite collaborator, and never revisited that partnership again. Their work together lived on screen, but off-screen, the distance never changed. When Clint looked back on Unforgiven, he often spoke warmly about Morgan Freeman or Richard Harris. Gene Hackman's name rarely showed up in those memories. People who worked on the film said the respect between the two men was real, but the damage was something neither of them could fix. The clash of egos, the subtle push and pull, the creative tension, it left a mark. And in Clint's world, once that line was crossed, there was no second chance. One experience, one film, and that was it. Hackman stepped away from acting not long after, while Clint kept shaping film after film with his usual precision. He picked his teams carefully, because to him, chemistry wasn't about stacking a project with big names, it was about trust. Once that trust shook, even a little, he closed the door for good. Two powerhouses, one legendary movie, and a silence that stayed unbroken. Because when Clint Eastwood shuts a door, it doesn't open again. Clint never needed to shout to make himself understood. He didn't start public feuds, didn't trade jabs in interviews, didn't let disagreements turn into spectacle. He watched, he remembered, and if someone crossed a boundary, he simply removed them from his orbit. In an industry built on charm, networking, and constant collaboration, Clint carved his legacy from conviction. Steady, immovable conviction. And for 5 people, 5 names woven quietly into Hollywood history, working with Clint wasn't just another job. It was a measure of character. Some of them came out on the wrong side of that measure, which leaves you with the real question. Did Clint handle things the right way, or did some of these silent grudges go too far? Drop your thoughts below. Every comment gets read. And if you want more untold stories from old school Hollywood, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. There's a whole lineup of legends Clint truly respected, and those names, the ones he never erased, are coming up next.